Hello, grade 8 students. I hope that you're doing great. So we were talking about the immune system. The immune system is the system responsible of defending us against non-self. We said self is anything that belongs to my body. Non-self is anything that does not belong to my body. So how does a system distinguish between a self and a non-self? It is by checking the HLA or MHC molecules. We said that on the surface of nucleated cells in the body, there are proteins called HLA if we're talking about people, MHC if we're talking about animals and plants. So when a cell is caught inside the body, the immune system will ask it for its HLA. If the HLA is the same, it will be welcomed since it is considered as a self. And if the HLA are different, it will be considered as a non-self and destroyed. In this application, we're talking about graphs. As you can see, there are 4 experiments, A, B, C, and D. I will start reading. Doctors have known for many years about transplanting body parts, such as blood vessels, heart, kidney, or liver, from a living organism to another, or inside the same organism. Some grafts were accepted, others were rejected. In their search for the factors that lead to the rejection of the graft, scientists they conduct the following graft experiments A, B, C, and D, and the results were summarized in the graph below in this graph. Pose the problem question. What is the problem question? What are we searching in here? We are searching, as mentioned in the text, for the factors or factor that lead to the rejection of the graft. What does lead? Which factor leads to a rejection of grafts? So how can we turn this objective, let's say, to oppose the problem? We should make a question. So what are the factors that lead to the rejection of grafts? Pick out the organs that can be grafted. Pick out, يعني the answer is in the text. Which organs in the body can be grafted? They said body parts such as blood vessels, heart, kidney, or liver. So pick out, يعني the answer is found in the text, and all we need to do is pick it out and copy it. So what are the organs that can be grafted? Blood vessels, heart, kidney, or liver. Referring to your knowledge, determine the type of each graft. When we say determine, يعني we justify, then we give our answer. In the case of determine, you can switch them. It's okay. But better to justify than to answer. Okay, let's start with the first one. In the first experiment, as you can see, the graft is done from one place to another in the body of the rabbit, in the same body of the rabbit. So, which type of graft is this? An autograft. So what do we say? Since the graft is done from a site to another in the same body of a rabbit, then this is an autograft. So what is an autograft? An autograft is the transfer of an organ or a tissue from one place to another in the same body. When the graft is happening in the same body, so it is an autograft. Okay, now the second one. It is from a mouse of strain X to another mouse of strain X. So it is the same type or same version. They are identical. Which kind of graft is this when it's done between two identical bodies? It is an isograft. Yes. So since the graft is done between two identical mice, so it is an isograft. What is an isograft? An isograft is a graft, is the transfer, or it's the transfer of an organ or a tissue between two identical twins. What about experiment C? Okay, here I forgot to put, you have to mention that this is A, and right here this is B. Let's move now and talk about C. In experiment C, we are taking a graft from a mouse of strain X to a mouse of strain Y. So it's the same species. We are still talking about mice, but they are different now, different bodies. So in C, since the graft is done between two organisms of the same species, or you can say between two different mice. So this is an allograft. It's like when you do a graft between two friends, يعني. Same species from a human being to another human being, but they don't have the same HLA or MHC. Okay, so right here, the graft is done between two organisms of the same species, both are mice, so, but they are different. So this is an allograft, organisms. Now, D, as you can see, this is a bit strange. The graft is done from a mouse to a rabbit. D, since the graft is done between two organisms of different species, yani one is a mouse and the other one is a rabbit, two organisms of different species, then this is a xenograft. Okay, a xenograft is done from a pig to a human being, from a mouse to a rabbit, from a dog to a human being. There are 4 different types of grafts: autograft, isograft, allograft, and xenograft. Now, what is the fate now of each of these grafts? Analyze all conducted experiments. When we say that, when we have to analyze, we have to say what happened and the results. Okay? هلا what happened هي هون we grafted مثلا from one side to another in the same body of a rabbit. Results are here. How many cells that were grafted survived? At the A, 100% of the cells of the graft survived. يعني it was very, very successful. All the cells worked well and survived. In B, the case is good, but not as in A. So 80% تقريبا, 80% of the cells survived. This is a successful graft, but the first one was more successful, but this is succeeded يعني. It's a good one. However, look at C and D. After 1 year, almost 2 or 0% of the graft were alive. Yani they are all dead. All the cells were dead after 1 year. So these two did not work well. Okay, now we're going to analyze. So what to say? First, I'm going to start writing from here. This is part D, okay? This is part D. When the graft is done from when the graft is done from one side to another in the body of a rabbit, the percentage of survival of grafted cells remains constant, right? Didn't it remain constant at 100% as time passes from 0 to 2 years? هيدا الanalyze for the first experiment. Okay? I'm analyzing, I'm saying what happened in the experiment. يعني I did a graft from one side to another in the body of a rabbit. I have كمان to analyze the results. What were the results? إنه the percentage of survival of grafted cells remained constant at 100% as time passes from 0 to 2 years. هلا in the second experiment لما we did a graph between two identical mice. Okay? After doing a graft from two or between two identical mice of strain X, this is what we did. What were the results? The percentage of survival of the grafted cells, what happened to them? They decreased from 100% to 80% as time passes from 0 to 2 years. كمان, what did I do? I did what happened بالexperiment. What did we do in the experiment? شو عملنا بالexperiment? We عملنا graph between two identical mice of strain X. طيب, what were the results? What were the results? إنه look, the percentage of survival of grafted cells, they decreased, صح? It went down from 100% at year 0 to 80% at year 2, right? Now the third experiment. One second. Yeah. Just so I can write above it. Third experiment, we did a graft between a mouse of strain X and a mouse of strain Y. When we analyze, we can start with saying the results. So I will do that as you want, okay? I'm just showing you that there are many ways to analyze. The percentage of survival of the grafted cells decreased from 100% to, I will put 2%. You can put also 2. I will put 2%. You can use 0% as time passes from 0 to 1 year. Okay. After doing a graft between a mouse of strain X and a mouse of strain Y. So حطيت what we did إنه نحن we did a graph between a mouse of strain X and a mouse of strain Y. So what happened? The percentage of survival of the grafted cells, they decreased from 100% to 2%. And now the last one, it's the graph between a mouse and a rabbit. So what did we do? upon doing a graft between a mouse and a rabbit, the percentage of survival of the grafted cells كمان decreased from 100% to 2% as time passes from 0 to 1 year. كمان I put what we did, what was the experiment, وكمان what were the results. So this is for the analyzed part. Let's move to the next question. Derive a conclusion concerning the fate, يعني accepted ولا rejected, of each graft. This is a conclusion. So we should say, I conclude that. What do we conclude? Which grafts were rejected and which grafts were accepted? This is part E. We conclude, or I conclude that grafts A and B were accepted and grafts C and D were rejected. Right? لأنه C and D يعني all the cells died after 1 year. So this is analyzed and this is the conclusion. Let's move to the next questions. Draw out the suitable conditions for the success of the graft. When does a graft succeed? Look, what does it depend on? In our case, or in all cases, أكيد, it depends on how similar HLA molecules are. If they are similar, أو MHC يعني, if they are similar, يعني this is self or accepted. If they are different, يعني rejected. The success of a graft depends on the similarity between MHC أو HLA between the donor and the recipient. Okay? The one that is donating the graft or the one that is receiving the graft. Okay? نحن we took this graft من الدونر. إذا ال HLA are similar يعني accepted. نحن قلنا إنه الدونر is the person that donates a graft. recipient, it's the one that receives the graft. So donor donate or recipient receives. Tabulate. Tabulate يعني make it as a table. The obtained results. We will go to the graft ونحوله ل table. أكيد you should know إنه the variable found on the horizontal line يعني على ال x-axis, this one should be in the first row. هيدا first row. وthis one in the second rows. So اللي تحت بصير فوق واللي فوق بصير تحت. Okay? So نحن in the first row رح نحط years. عندي year 0 وعندي 1 عندي 2. Okay? Down, we're going to put survival of grafted cells. So survival of grafted cells. أكيد we should never forget the percentage. الunit يعني used. Okay. أكيد عندي 4 experiments B. C and D. هلا I'm going to draw the table. أكيد don't forget you draw the table with a pencil. Draw the table with a pencil بس you write inside with a pen. Okay? The table must be closed أكيد. Again, you draw it with a pencil and you write inside with a pen. هيدا كمان I should do it this way أنا. Okay? Here we have for sure the rows for experiments A, B, C, and D. Now we start filling in the table. Look at the graph. At time 0, okay, first year, all of them, they started with 100%. يعني the percentage of survival of a grafted cell in the first year can 100. So 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay, هلا the second year. In the second year, A ضلت 100 أصلا it remained 100 يعني till year 2. Okay. B at year 1 كانت almost شي 90 to 80. So I'm talking about this graph. هون 80 it went down تقريبا 90 لصارت هون 80 190 80. C وال D من ال first year صاروا تقريبا 2 or 0. So 2 وضلت 2 2 وضلت 2. One more thing, we must put a title for the table. رح نحط a table showing the variation a table showing the variation of the percentage of survival of grafted cells in grafts A, B, C, and D as a function of time بشو in years. It's a function of time in years. So هيدا أكيد the title of the table. We should never forget to add a title for the table. Okay? This is all for today. Thank you for watching and following.